and welcome to a very long overdue book club slash book review. And to be honest, it's because I didn't really like the book that I'd set myself to review, and that was Joseph Conrad's The Heart of Darkness. I don't know if you remember that. I think I set that at the end of maybe the Girls of Riyadh one or something like that. And before we get into the actual review, I apologise for my kind of messy surroundings, and that is because I'm coming from you in the Camargue in the south of France, which is very exciting. And because I'm on holiday, I'm getting a chance to do a lot of reading, because when I'm at university I do academic reading, but I don't really read for pleasure. And it reminded me how much I actually like reading and how much I like discussing the books and doing these sort of videos. And I remembered I'd promised to do a Heart of Darkness review way back when I was still living in Lyon, and it never materialised. So I thought, let's do it here. And before we get stuck in again, I must say, obviously this review will contain spoilers. Obviously I'm going to discuss kind of the intricacies of the books, and people might agree with them or disagree with it, but that's fine. And I feel like I have to say this because I got a little bit of hate on another book I did. So I've got some notes that I've written down on the book on my phone, so I thought I would go through them. This will be quite a quick review because I didn't really like it, and I'd appreciate it if you want to leave your thoughts on the book down in the comments, and similarly if you disagree, agree with anything that I'm saying, it would be really great to hear them. And also feel free to tweet or get in touch with me on any social media platforms. The Heart of Darkness is written by Joseph Conrad in, first of all, I think in series form in 1899, and then it was published as a novella in 1902. It was part of a series, and it was preceded by The End of Narcissus, and then followed by Lord Jim, apparently. I've not read any of them, I've just read The Heart of Darkness. The Heart of Darkness is a very, very famous text. It's very widely studied in a number of different fields. I know a lot of people might study this at school. I personally got the chance to study this in university as part of my international relations course. We were discussing different theories, and one of the critical theories that we were discussing was post-colonialism, and this was the text that we were using to do it. I decided not to engage with that theory in that text because I did my essay focusing on something else, but they had the opportunity to. And to be honest, I'm glad I didn't, because I don't like this text at all. I can see why it's important in a lot of different things, but I just don't like it. I've actually just zoomed in because I felt like I was really far away. It's nothing that I have against studies of colonialism or post-colonialism or the critical theories themselves. You know, I've read my Said and Orientalism and things like that. And my degree is International Relations and Middle Eastern Studies, so I don't have anything against the kind of post-colonial side of it, but I think I just didn't enjoy the text. However, I've got to recognise its importance and its significance, and I think you're going to have to when you read it, because you can see how it's useful for understanding colonialism, for understanding the relationship of kind of the white man and the black natives. And basically the story is based loosely on the author's own journeys in Africa, and the narrator is a man called Marlowe, who's telling his story on a boat in the River Thames about his time when he became the commander of a boat in the Congo, and kind of allows him to draw these parallels between the two places, and that ultimately there's not much difference between what is seen as civilized places of London and the uncivilized world of Africa and in the Congo, and he compares them both to be places of darkness. If you're reading it from a pleasure point of view, it's a difficult book to read and get into, I found. I found it quite self-indulgent from the author's point of view, and it was kind of odd. But then I guess you could understand it as a literary technique and the kind of civilized man's interpretation. And I don't know how much of the significance of The Heart of Darkness is actually being overstated and overemphasized by the people who study it and look at it, because I really question how much thought maybe went into it, or I don't know, or how much is just being used and extrapolated by people to understand it in different ways. I think, for example, the descriptions of the kind of acts of colonialism, so like the outposts in the Congo, would be interesting as understanding how they came about and understanding how they work. As I understand, there wasn't many examples from the time that we can draw on to understand them. And similarly, we can look at his descriptions of the natives, which I think are really important. For me, that is the most important kind of motif to take from this in a post-colonial understanding of it. And I think the descriptions, and especially of the kind of the women, which I think if you've read it you'll understand, like the women. I think that the whole descriptive scene where the story's sort of coming to a crescendo, where Marlowe is going in, and his encounters with Kurtz are the most important, and the descriptions of Kurt's action as a colonial influence and what that means for the natives, and Marlowe's description, and therefore Conrad's description of the natives, are really, really interesting. And I think for me that's the most interesting thing about it. And maybe it's because I don't know enough and I'm not knowledgeable enough on the studies of anything of post-colonialism or of literature in general, that I struggled to kind of engage with it in a way that I expected to engage with it. I thought that it would be a lot more engaging in a kind of pleasurable point of view, and that could be just completely on me rather than anything else. But I would be really interested to hear what you thought of the text primarily, and what you took away as the most kind of important thing you can learn and take away from it, because I think that is how this book is understood. It is not a book that you read for pleasure, I understand now. It's more what you can learn from it and what you take away from it. So really, they're the kind of main points that I'd love to hear from you down below. And all that's left to do is tell you what the next book that I'm going to be looking at in our little book club book review session is, and that is The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barbary. But I'm reading the English translation because I don't have that good French skills. My auntie actually gave me this as a congratulations for getting a grad job, because she knows I like reading and France, and I have been meaning to read this for years. It's been on my Amazon wishlist for years, but I just never have, and I'm really glad that I'm getting a chance to now, and so I'll be getting stuck into this. I have already kind of started it, and it's so far being a really great holiday read for when I'm holidaying in France. So next book club will be on this, and the kind of thoughts that already seem to be contained in it seem a lot more enjoyable and at my speed than The Heart of Darkness, even though The Heart of Darkness may be more significant in the world of politics, IR and post-colonialism, I'm afraid. Stay in touch on social media, and it'll be good to see you soon.